Hey guys, my name is Matsumoto, and welcome to our episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I'll give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question for today is, do you think that Vigil is a bad operator? It appears to me that his gadget is not that good, since you get an indicator when your drone goes by him, so you know where he is anyways. I think they should remove the indicator to make him a better operator. Do you agree? You are not the only one that has expressed this concern. It seems like a lot of people, when they first try out Vigil, aren't really impressed by his gadget. Even I, when I first got my hands on it, found it to be a bit underwhelming because I thought that it was actually giving the enemy more information as to my whereabouts. I automatically assumed that Vigil was going to be an amazing roaming and flanking operator. He's 3 speed, he's got a great weapon, and he's got a gadget that allows him to be stealthy. I kind of assumed that he was going to be Cav 2.0, but slightly different. And while he can be very good at that, a lot of times I was also noticing that the enemy would know that I was roaming and what side of the map that I was roaming on because of my gadgets. You have to remember that when he uses his ability, any drone within a 13-meter radius of that is going to know that he's nearby. And so a lot of the times, I would have been better off just not using his ability and just staying in a room quietly and silently. The drone would have moved on, it would have had no idea I was there, but because I had his gadget active, they knew I was nearby, and so it actually gave away my position. The complete opposite of what you want as a roaming operator, and what you would assume Vigil would be all about. Then when I tried out different strategies though, that's when I realized things got a lot more interesting. He's going to require a lot of finesse. You can roam, don't get me wrong, that is still a distinct possibility. You're going to see some amazing roaming Vigils out there, but I found that he was a lot more useful around the objective. Because the radius around Vigil is so large for that HUD notification for drones, if you're in the hallway outside of the objective room, a lot of the times the enemy is going to assume that you're actually in the objective. Why wouldn't you be? Like, that seems like the perfect spot for Vigil. And so as soon as they round the corner, assuming that that hallway is clear, because they're not sure if you're in the hallway or in the room itself, you're in that nice little hiding spot and you're able to get the drop on the enemy and take them down. That, I think, is the strength of Vigil. You can kind of play mind games with the enemy. He'll also have the ability to camp in locations that would seem crazy for any other operator. If you just laid down prone in the middle of a hallway as Jaeger and just assumed that you would be safe, you're probably not going to last very long. Someone's going to drone at the hallway, they're going to see you're prone down on the ground, they're going to round the corner and take you down. As Vigil, maybe a bit more complicated. If they don't drone all the way down the hallway to that 13-meter radius where they're gonna get notified, they take a quick peek with the drone, think it's clear, they round the corner as their operator, you're behind maybe a small little box, and you're gonna have the advantage. And so all in all, while I think that Vigil is gonna require more finesse, he's gonna require more on the part of the player to learn different strategies, once they do, I do think that he is gonna be a force to be reckoned with. Now, maybe I'll change my tune in a couple of weeks, maybe I'll find him to be a bit lackluster, but I definitely don't think that he should be completely invisible to drones and eliminate that notification. If that was the case, I feel like it would be game-breaking. This entire game revolves around gathering information, and drones are the best way to gather that information, and if you literally have no idea where he is in your drone, that just seems a bit too much. The next question is, do you think that the new shotgun for the Korean operators is overpowered and might get a nerf in the future? I'm not really sure how I feel about the new shotguns. I like the fact that they're experimenting, but I just don't know how it's going to translate into game balance. On the one hand, if you're someone who's not very good with this weapon type, I'm someone who fits in this category, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of use out of it. You may get a couple one-shot kills, it feels fun, but it's higher risk, higher reward. A lot of times I'm going to miss those 2 shots, and if I have to reload and then switching over to my secondary weapon, that's going to put me at a disadvantage in that firefight. On the other hand, though, for someone who is amazing with shotguns, there are some people that can wield these things like gods, it's gonna seem pretty busted. I think the reason why I'm a bit skeptical is I remember what shotguns used to be back when it was the meta to use this on every single operator. I don't know if you guys remember this, a lot of you weren't into Siege back then, but a long time ago, I think year 1, season 1, season 2, everyone was using shotguns. I mean, you could practically snipe people at long range. Why in the world would you ever want to use a normal weapon, which requires you to go for a headshot if you want to take someone down quickly, when you could just use a shotgun? Shotguns require you to aim at the body of the enemy. The body is a much bigger target than the head. it's a no-brainer. And so everyone was using shotguns, because why wouldn't you? And so while I don't think it's going to be nearly as bad as that, my fear with this new weapon is that when people get really good with it, and there are people that are going to master this thing, it's going to be really frustrating when we're on the receiving end. And so if Ubisoft ever does decide that this weapon is overpowered and they realize that they need to nerf it, I have no idea how they're going to be able to go about it without making it just completely worthless. Because they've kind of designed it in this gimmicky way, they put themselves in a corner. It's only got 2 shots. It's supposed to hit hard. If you nerf its damage and its 1-shot range, well then why would you ever want to use this over a normal shotgun? You wouldn't want to. And so honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen with this weapon. On the one hand, I think for the vast majority of the community, it's going to be just a gimmick. It's not really going to be all that useful because it does only have 2 shots and most people require more. But I think there's also going to be some people out there that do master it, and it is going to be that overpowered status, and I have no idea how you balance that out. It's either worthless or it's just completely busted. I'm curious to see how Ubisoft is going to handle that in the future. The next question comes from Jordan, and it is, what are your thoughts on a defending operator named Whistleblower? She can spot enemies on all the cameras simultaneously. I think every Valkyrie main out there just screamed internally at this suggestion because this is her worst nightmare. Valk does not want you to spot with her cameras, and if there was someone who was able to spot everyone on every single camera, her cameras are gonna get pinpointed pretty quickly. Yeah, you might be able to identify what the enemy is. I mean, it does give you that knowledge. Oh, they have a Blackbeard. Oh, they have an Ashe. We need to be aware of that. But I think most people would rather you not spot with their cameras, and someone who could just do that on every single camera all at once just doesn't seem like it would provide much of a benefit. Normally the reason why you want to spot someone is to give information really quickly to someone on your team that you can't just give a precise call out for. If you know that someone's in a room, you quickly spot that target, they panic trying to figure out where the camera is, your teammates swoop on in with that knowledge and take them down. I would say that's the ideal spotting situation. Thing is though, is that only requires 1 camera. You don't need every single camera on the map to be able to pull off one of those maneuvers. I guess I'm just having a hard time understanding how this would benefit the defensive team. A lot of times when someone spots me, it just reminds me, oh, I need to take out the camera. I forgot to take out the camera. And then we're good to go. I mean, yeah, it kind of gives your team a general idea that, oh, the enemy's in the main lobby. Let's watch out for that. But after you made the spot, especially if you don't make it at the tail end of the round, you don't have that information for the rest of the game. You no longer have access to that camera. And so I just don't think there's going to be a lot of moments where it's at the very end of the round, you activate all of your cameras to spot everyone in front of them, and then you get all this awesome knowledge. I just don't see that really being all that great. The next question is, what do you think about an operator's speed being slowed down when they reach the 30 health mark or lower? The operator is wounded, should they still be able to move at their full speed? I'm gonna go with a no on this one. You're not the only one that has suggested this over the last couple of years. It seems like a lot of people like the idea of just making Siege more realistic. If you shoot an operator in the arm, maybe they're gonna have to deal with more recoil. If you shoot them in the leg, they move slower, they hobble around. They're not gonna have as much mobility because that's how it would work in reality. And while this would bring in different dynamics, if you shoot at someone's feet because that's all you see, you now know that that player is gonna be slower. If you're in a firefight with someone, instead of just going for the headshot, I don't know why you would do this, but you could go for the arms, they now have to deal with more recoil. Like, that would add in a different layer than what we have right now. But is that necessary? I mean, the reason why I sounded a little bit skeptical there is because most people are gonna be aiming for the head. Firefights end instantly. I mean, it's just 1 shot and they're done. And while I know I just deviated a bit from your question, it kind of goes back to that same mentality. Do we need to punish people even more for such a fast-paced game? If you're at 30 HP, someone just has to sneeze in your general area to take you down. It just seems more punishing that you're now even slower. You move even slower than you would before. So not only are you gonna get taken down by anyone that just sprays in your general area, but you're not able to move around as quickly as well. And so I think it's for those reasons why I just don't think it's necessary. Yes, it might make things a bit more interesting, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things it would change all that much, and it just isn't necessary. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. We had a big discussion on Vigil's gadget. Do you think that it's in a good place right now? Do you think that it's underwhelming? How would you go about improving it? Do you think that the shotguns are overpowered and are going to become a bit of a problem? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you would like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.